We're in a time where a lot of us have our desire for connection running up against our desire for expansion. Let me explain that a little bit. Obviously, the ultimate truth would be to experience both. You can have connection and expansion. But I want to explain to you how sometimes we desire connection or hold on to connection to stop our true essence, which is expansion. Your nature is expansion. There's a reason why, as time goes on, you have to grow. And if you don't grow, you contract. And when you contract, you feel bad. And often, when we feel bad, we need addictions to distract us from the pain that we're feeling. But the core reason for the pain is that we're not choosing to expand. So often, we stay in something, a circumstance, a friendship, a relationship, a job, a different thing, whatever, our old story. We might be attached to our past. And if those things that we're in aren't also expanding, if your job isn't expanding you, if your relationship isn't also about expansion, sometimes it starts to be about attachment. In other words, to stop myself from feeling expansive, I'm going to grab onto this. So often we have a desire for connection, but it's really attachment. And the attachment is our small self trying to grab onto anything in order to feel better about the fact that we're not choosing to expand, but our essence is still expansion. So even when you're choosing to not expand, your soul is still expanding. And that contrast is what feels so painful. So we're in this world that is always expanding. And often, if we grab onto our past story, our small self, or something that worked in the past but might not be working with the expansion that's happening now, we feel contracted, sad, and often addicted. And our addiction is what we're often calling connection. In other words, I want to feel connection with this person, but they don't see my heart, they don't see my soul, and I'm expanding to a place where I want to see my heart. So to hold on to them doesn't feel like really connection, it's attachment, it's stuckness. And often when we let go of those connections, we move back to moving with the expansion that we naturally are. We have to grow, or we're going to feel sad, off, stuck, and often sick, have a hard time sleeping, all these other things. One reason people are having a hard time sleeping in this time or getting sicker and sicker in this time is can be that they're grabbing onto something that worked in the past but doesn't work now. So very often right now, a lot of people are grabbing connection to block their soul's expansion. And it's not until we let go of that connection that we can feel our essence, which is expanding. So obviously, we can have connections, but we want to make our expansion first. In other words, when connection is a higher priority than expansion, then connection is an addiction. In other words, you're grabbing onto something or someone in order to not connect to your soul. That can happen with a lot of the people pleasers of the world or the empaths that feel that they're here to hold everyone else's pain. And they do that in order to not hear their own heart. Well, those aspects that are outside of us right now are getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And the light is getting so bright and it's forcing our expansion so much more that anything that we hold on to in order to ignore our whole self has to fall off right now. And so a lot of people are going through a massive letting go of connections to family members, friends, different people that they thought they were going to be friends with forever, relationships, all kinds of different things. Also, old ways that they used to be, careers that maybe really worked really well in the past, but don't feel fulfilling now. So we're letting go of these things because life is doing what it can to get you to your essence, which is expansion. So life is making a lot of these things fall apart in order to get you connected to the truth. The reason we hold on to these things on the external is we don't want to look at our biggest fear. What we don't understand is in an expansive world, if we would be with and hear our deepest fear, I have to do this for these people, otherwise I'm not enough. Deepest fear is not enough. I have to be there for everyone else over myself, otherwise I won't be loved. Deepest fear is won't be loved. Well, in the expansive side, when you allow yourself to listen deeply, whether it's by letting go, by following your soul, by meditating, by listening to silence, you will see the wounds of the little child that are in your body. And you will stop holding on to external things to stop these things from coming to light. And when you allow yourself to listen deeply, you'll see a little boy or a little girl that's 5 years old that is scared that they aren't enough, that they won't be loved, that they'll be abandoned, that they'll be abused, that they'll be hurt. And when we allow ourselves to connect to the expansive nature of our soul, it will bring to light that fear and it will heal it. It will transcend it. So when you're going, why is everything falling apart and I don't feel connected to so many things? That's because it's making room for you to move to the true essence that you truly are. You are an expansive soul. And to get you to your expansive soul, it has to alchemize or heal the deepest fears. In other words, almost all of what we're doing is out of not feeling a deep fear. I have to hold this person up. I have to do this stuff. I have to watch this. I have to do all this stuff. Otherwise, I won't be enough. I won't have a purpose. I will have wasted my life. These are all fears. And life is trying to clear all of our fears. It's trying to take these fears and bring them to light because they're in the way of your connection to source. They're in the way of your connection to what you are. They're in your way of your connection to love. So when we stop on our hierarchy, making connection to everything in the world outside of you bigger than your soul, and instead go soul first, connection as a byproduct of the soul, then what you're going to have is you connect to source. And then you'll bring friendships, relationships, career decisions in that match that. So you'll find other people who are connected to their soul. And conversations will be very different. You won't just be holding someone else up while ignoring yourself. You'll be able to be heard evenly. You'll have people in your life that can take you past you, that'll take you towards your expansion. So it's great to have connection, but make sure that the connection is supporting your expansion. So if you have a relationship going with someone that's just totally addicted, not moving forward with you, often you're going to feel contracted and you're going to feel my desire to stay connected to this person feels up against my expansion. And sometimes you'll be like, there might be ways you can keep it going. I don't know how to do that. And I often go, okay, this isn't expanding my soul. It's not an even thing. My inner child is buried to keep this relationship alive. It's something I have to let go of. And that can happen for you too, where you go, okay, I'm here to meet my expansion first. And then when we do, I will bring in friends and a partner and a career and everything else that meets my expansive soul, that takes me past me even. How cool would it be to have people in your life that will take you beyond you, that see you even greater than you can see yourself, and help you continually heal the false self that's ready to die in this time? It's time for us to make expansion first. You will become a beacon of love and light for the world, and you will be giving light just as much as you're seeing it. And you can stop just giving and holding up the world while your own cup is empty. It's time for the empaths of the world to fill their own cup, and they can still be in that service to humanity, but from a whole place, because guess what? Your soul is also part of humanity. So if you're there for the world while avoiding your own soul, that's not being there for others. That's actually really a dark energy that's just scared that it's going to be hurt. But if you allow those aspects to fall apart and you fill your soul up too, you will be a light for the world that is just so bright and will bring so much change, and you'll watch the world change as a byproduct of your changing of yourself. This is an exciting time, and have connection, but see if your connection to expansion is first. What happens as the connection to the world is a byproduct of that expansion.
Now, check out this clip from one of the craziest events we've ever done, Love Rising.
In the mirror, I asked myself, how does a man that lost both of his kids still love the world?
You know, love is not something that's expressed in my family, so
Wow.
I said,
Love is not something that's expressed in my family. There has to be something expressed. Is there anything left?
criticism.
Criticism. Oh. If you just spend your whole time preparing for later, then you won't have been in the moment to be able to receive later. I gotta get ready for the ultimate person in my life. Later, later, later. Hi, I'm the person. Shut up, I gotta get later. I hate the term, keep it together. Why would you keep it together? And if everything fell apart, what would happen? Do you think you'd die if it fell apart? Or do you think that something might actually catch you? There's no circumstance that's bigger than what you are. Even if what you're feeling is terrible, you feeling like shit is so much more advanced than numbing it. Imagine you going, yeah, I'm so sad! You are only able to be happy at the level you're willing to be sad.
If I do it and it's rejected, I suck.
I didn't speak to my daughters for 10 years.
In this moment, you're just loved. You are love.
I've meditated every day for the past 2 years. My
And are you
world,
honoring what the meditation
I am
says?
not.
Right. You thought with your little head,
That's right.
which for me is also the big head. Your addiction is he needs to change. And our growth is when we don't need anybody to change. And if they're talking shit about you, you think that's your job to take on. You take on more than you need to. You only need one of these. You might project on yourself that there's judgment here that's not here.
Okay.
What do you think's more powerful? Looking like you have your shit together, or totally owning that you don't and it's okay? You can only help people at the level you're helping yourself. You didn't know that 10 years ago, but maybe you're about to be the greatest grandpa on the planet. Don't get excited about the idea, get excited about you, because you're the space that this idea came from. With a breakthrough like this, I'm gonna need 2 toilets. You can't outwit love. You actually are put in a position where you have to grow just by actually experiencing real love and forgiveness.
I said, you know, Dad, I love you.
And what happened? He's like, malfunction, I know.
I'm going to see my daughters. I'm going back east.
There's joy. There's love. There's gratitude.
That entire 2-day course is $20. Grab it, an entire 2-day course for $20. Check it out and see if it helps you expand.